My ex Rose, and I have a son, Jason. He is 15 years old. We broke up when Jason was 5. Rose has Jason on weekends. Rose married her now husband when Jason was 10. Her husband has 2 children, they are 17 and 16 and live full-time with them. Jason has a few chores when he's with them and easily takes care of them, while his step-siblings don't do theirs and Rose take care of them. This has been the only point of contention between our son and her. He has talked with her and even went to therapy. It was when Jason was 12 when we switched days. We stayed like that for a year and a half, but since things never really got better, we went back to our initial agreement. The situation is still the same, and a year ago Jason came to me complaining about it. I had run out of things to say to him when it comes to this subject, so I threw almost the same pep talk my old man said to me when I was about the same age as him. I told him that I understand that it sucks. While they can't do anything, you can do everything. You can cook, clean, do well in school, drive, handle your own money, and you even know how to handle the bills, and I'm not counting the things you've learned from your grandparents and your uncle. I can send you to live alone right now like my old man did with me, an inside joke. And I wouldn't worry, because even if you don't know how to do them, you take the time to learn. You are already ahead of many kids your age, even ahead of some adults. Do your part, and as long as she doesn't make you do their chores, let your mother take care of it. Just focus on spending time with her the way you've been doing so far. The world is going to hit your step-siblings hard one day. Jason took it well, and things have been going well until yesterday. He went out with his mother, and when they returned, they found their house a complete mess. I don't know what they did, but it was bad enough that Rose snapped and finally forced them to clean the house. The kids tried to get Jason to help them because they were struggling, but he refused, claiming it wasn't his mess. They kept nagging him, and Jason told them that I was right. They are really useless. His mother asked him if I really said that. He said I didn't, but it can be summed like that. He called me at night telling me that he probably got me in trouble and explained the situation. Rose with her husband came today about what I said. I told them that I never called them useless and explained what I said. But useless never leave their minds, and told me I'm an asshole and to stay out of their business. Rose and her husband comments were more about her kids, who I don't care, but when it comes to my son, of course I will. Jason wasn't standing there looking smug and calling them useless. He was in his room minding his business. The constant nagging and his mother's inability to stop them make him snap. That's when he called them useless. He knows he should ignore them or be more tactful, but I get it. His patience has limits just like everyone else. He apologized to his step-siblings before he came back to my house yesterday. He also apologized to me for kinda throwing me under the bus, but I told him it was unnecessary, everything cool between us. Why did he keep going to his mother? He wanted. Last year he was on the fence about going back, but after our talk, he finally accepted that his mother wasn't going to change, and he decided to work around that because he still wanted a relationship with her. Their relationship actually got better, but after what happened, their relationship is going to change. We have to wait if it is for better or for worse. Him and I talked, and he's still thinking about what to do, but he says that he'll probably do what he had planned last year. He will spend time with her but will not go to her house anymore. He's taking a few days to let things settle down, and then he'll let his mother know. She is not going to like it, but alas, she's not in a position to demand or ask. I am a 26 years old female. Me and my fiancé, he's 28, been engaged for 4 months. We're planning on having our wedding on October 18th. My future mother-in-law kept annoying me and sending me suggestions for choosing the right wedding dress, and said that she knew better and tried to get me to approve of wedding dresses that she chose. And when she couldn't enforce her decision, she demanded that I take her with me to buy my wedding dress so she could have an opinion. Before I went shopping, I called her to ask if she wanted to come, but started making excuses about how busy she was with my sister-in-law. I went shopping with my mom, and I was able to find a really nice dress, although it cost me a little over what I saved up for. But it was worth it. I made some changes to it and it was perfect. It arrived to my apartment at the end of the week. I made sure it was stored in a safe place so it doesn't get ruined. Yesterday, I got back from my mom's house and found that my fiancé wasn't home, neither was the dress. I called him immediately, knowing that he must have taken it to show it to his mom since she continuously asked to see it. and refused to have me send her pictures of it on Facebook. I was so mad when it was confirmed that my fiancé took it to show it to his mom. He said he was gonna be home in 30 minutes. After he went to the supermarket, I waited for longer than I had to, and then when he arrived I ran to get my dress. That was buried underneath grocery bags. I took it to check on it and its zipper was broken and the dress itself, fabric, was stretched out. I was like, what the happened to it? My mother-in-law must have tried it on, because it looked ruined. The straps were almost loose. I had to call my mother-in-law when my fiancé told me his mom and sister took turns to try it on. I was absolutely livid. She told me she did nothing wrong and that I was making a big deal out of it. She said she'd get a replacement for the broken zipper. But I told her to pay for a new dress since it was stretched out and no longer fitting. She refused and said that I probably wasn't happy with my dress choice and wanted her to pay so I could get a new one. I yelled at her for trying it on and ruining it. That she and my fiancé were responsible for ruining my dress, so they should pay for a new one. It's done, no longer fitting. The straps are in a horrible condition. My mom said she'd pay for fixing it, but I just hate it now that someone else wore it before me. I'm mad at both of them and seriously considering postponing the wedding. I am a 35-year-old female. I don't have the best relationship with my husband's mom. Since day one she tried to make remarks and compare me to her. She then tried to get on my good side and started overly praising everything I do and sometimes even copying me, like that one time when she dyed her hair purple just like mine, and when everyone pointed out how ridiculous she looked. She actually blamed me and accused me of trying to make a joke out of her. So, anyways, my husband and I took 2 weeks off work to go visit some places out of the country, tourism in other words. Thing is, I was the one who saved up for and arranged for the trip. My husband was responsible for booking the tickets. My husband's mom wanted to come along and threw temper tantrums when I said no. She called, texted, sent people to talk to me into letting her come. Even threatened to call the police and make some complaint up to get us to stay if she can't come. My husband said we should just take her, but I told him he was wrong to tell her about the trip in the first place. He gave me an ultimatum. Said he wouldn't go if she can't come, and I told him I'd gladly call his bluff, which made him take his words back and say, fine. I will tell her to stop it because we won't take her. Things got quieter, suspiciously quieter. The day of the trip came and we got to the airport at 2 p.m. My husband was walking ahead of me and was looking left and right like he was looking for someone. I asked him, but he didn't respond. He led me to the waiting area, and first thing I saw was his mom standing there with her luggage. I froze in my spot. I felt a cold wave washing over me and I was fuming inside. She and my husband were hugging. That's when I quietly turned around and started walking towards the exit. My husband followed me while shouting at me to stop. He tried to stop me, but I told him off the harshest way possible. He tried to say I was overreacting and that his mom was there anyway and I should let it go and not mess the trip up for us. I told him he and his mom could still go and that I was going home. I went home and sobbed into my dog's fur for several minutes. Turned out he booked her a ticket without me knowing. An hour later he came home yelling and raging about how pathetic and spiteful I was to walk out and go home and ruin the trip last minute. I told him he caused this to happen. He said that I was being so hard on his mom, it's ridiculous. I refused to fight anymore, but he kept on berating me, then called my family to tell them that the trip was cancelled, and that it was because of me. My family said that I shouldn't have ruined it for myself and should have sucked it up and done my best to enjoy. I have a lot of family members. I come from a religious community that doesn't believe in the public school system and tends to have a ton of kids. I have an older sister, Julia, a stepbrother, Ron, a stepsister, Molly, a half-brother, Joe, and a half-sister, Lucy. Growing up, all of us were homeschooled. This involved a lot of neglect, lack of textbooks or seasonally appropriate clothes / shoes, unheated house, and sometimes physical abuse. I lived mostly with my mom, but spent weekends with my step-family. Both houses were dysfunctional. My stepmom used to have a severe problem with alcoholism, although she's been better in the last few years. Ron is my best friend and I would be lost without him. We've supported each other through years of hard times. And we discuss a lot how our lives could have been different if we'd been sent to school or generally had a more healthy home life. Obviously, we don't want the same thing for our younger siblings, and don't want to see them struggling in minimum wage jobs while trying to study for a GED the way we're doing. When I went to visit him recently, I found that my stepmom had gone out of the country for an entire week and left the youngest two at the house. Ron and Molly both work. Molly hasn't been doing any homeschooling for about 2 years, and are out of the house for most of the day and night. I tried to help Lucy with her math homework, but she was extremely behind grade level and kept getting distracted because she had to make lunch or do chores. Joe spends all day in his room playing video games and gets no guidance from anyone. I try to as gently as possible get him to do some reading, but he doesn't understand how serious the situation is, and obviously is having too much fun to care. So I called CPS and reported educational neglect. And obviously everyone knew it was me. And Ron told me that stepmom said I wasn't welcome at the house anymore and to never contact any of them again. Molly is extremely mad at me. She blocked me on Facebook and doesn't have a cell phone where I can reach her. Julia, who somehow heard about all this despite living across the country, also blocked me on Facebook and reported my Facebook as impersonating a celebrity. Facebook deleted it, generally making everything harder. This stings even more because I'm already estranged from my biomom over my religious beliefs. I now have no family members left, besides Ron, thank bejeebus, who want anything to do with me. I feel like I make enemies everywhere I go. Ron has been saying for years that he can't call CPS, and I guess this is why, but at least he doesn't blame me. He suggested that I try to talk to stepmom once some time has passed, but I would have no idea where to begin.